Well, hello. It's recording. All right, guys. This is video 2. I hate when suddenly you can see everything's wrinkled, including your neck. This is the happy video. All right. And to celebrate happiness, I brought some coffee. You should get coffee too. Or whatever thing makes you happy. Coffee is one of the things that makes me the happiest in life. I gotta be honest. I think if I was on a deserted island with just one thing, it would be coffee. Last video you probably watched, and I shared with you a bunch of Debbie Downer, blah blah, money sucks things. This video is the good, and we're in a better headspace. And so I wrote down a handful of things to prepare for this, and it's pretty awesome. There really is a lot of good stuff going on, and I'm excited about that. And I'm trying to keep these as the front and center. So we're gonna just rocket through these real quick. The good things that have been going on. One is the first big bullet point is we built a really good foundation here. And what I mean by a good foundation is a good foundation for future growth and there's two things that are really important. So one is stability, right? Like this is a job for you guys. And for me, and so it's like we need steady paychecks. We need, to be able to, predict what's going to happen and have some stability. Nobody wants a job that's like, could collapse at any moment. That would be terrifying to everyone. And so building a stable foundation is really important. And then for me, and this doesn't have to be the case necessarily for anybody else, but for me, growth is also important, but it's secondary. I would rather have this be stable and we're just doing what we're doing than, growth has to come out of safety and stability. So safety and stability first, then growth. And I'm excited about it. So I tend to get excited about the growth because it's new and all that kind of stuff. It's flashy, but stability is important. So building a more stable foundation for what we already have, we put some money this year into our physical spaces. So we built out the downstairs in Eagle River to be for kids and groups. So now we have kind of more of that kind of contained downstairs. The upstairs is for adults. We actually have a psych A&P that's going to be working out of Eagle River soon. That she doesn't work for us, but she's going to be running one of our offices. We're going to have a medical provider there. We have Mike there as a psychologist doing testing. So we have Eagle River is really becoming kind of a big site that has a lot of kind of neat overlap. I'm excited to get to know this med provider. I'll tell you, we'll share more about her in the future. So our physical spaces, we put some good money into the furniture and just, like we painted and did new outlets and all that kind of stuff downstairs. And then we also, upstairs for the new providers, as people kind of moved away, we refurnished the offices. We got, I'm a big believer in buying furniture that is, I like it when you guys get furniture that's durable, and even if it's more expensive, it lasts, right? Like a good piece of furniture lasts for longer than you're alive, like a good wood desk doesn't, dissolve after, even if you swap it out for a new one, because just out of the desire for novelty or something newer fashioned, that's a durable item. And so we got good furniture, we got good spaces, we hired new staff, we got 7 new staff, and then 2 left because we were not able to fill their caseloads, and that was totally understandable. But we have 5 new staff that are stuck around and they're growing their caseloads, and several of them have expressed wanting to kind of shift to doing more work here, more full-time work, which is really exciting because that's kind of what helps provide that stability here. Is the more sessions that get done, the more that we're better off, so to speak. And then so the spaces are better. The staff is solid. We have a really good team. Honestly, we have a really interesting model in that And I'm just going to talk for a second about the staff. We don't supervise your cases. We don't. It's really, you all know this as the staff here. Like a lot of you met me through, I either knew you outside of this and had kind of vetted you because we were friends, or I knew you, or we went to school together, or whatever. Others came through somebody that I knew that said, hey, this is a really solid person. And others we just interviewed, kind of cold call. But we've got I've worked in other agencies. Like I know what the mental health space is like. We've got a pretty dang solid crew here. Like, you know what I mean? Like and it's not like we have 5 people. I think there's like 20 something providers, 22 or something, and a couple admin staff. We've got really solid people, especially given, like, we've got I'm going to say this the way that I would say it behind the scenes. We've got a low density of duds. We have a really, like, when I worked at North Star, it was like half the clinicians sucked. They were duds. And that's not the case here. It's not even close to half. I won't give a number because then you would be like, where do they work out of, Brad? What's the first letter of their name? But like, we've got a solid group of people here, and I really mean that. I say that all the time, and it's almost a miracle. It's kind of weird. It's a little bit like we should have more duds than we do, and we don't, and that's really cool. So anyway, and then the admin staff. We've built out a really good admin team. We're outsourcing accounting because that's such a specialty, and we actually, Mike knew of a really great team in Kansas, of all places, where he used to live, and they're phenomenal. We got this great accounting team that we're starting to work with this year. We've got Jesse, Kaylee, Liberty, all rock stars. Same thing. I've worked with other people in those roles, and we've got it good with them. Like, we really do. And then Mike is just awesome. Mike's just one of the most knowledgeable guys in Alaska, I think, as far as psychology goes. I really think that he's just a friggin' genius in a lot of ways, and he wouldn't say that, but I'll say it on his behalf. And he's a really fun guy. Mike is pretty formal in his kind of initial thing. Get Mike behind closed doors and chat with him for a while, and that's my favorite space with Mike. I trust Mike a ton, and he is a fun guy, especially if you get him to let loose a little bit. He's a funny dude. So we've got all these great things going. We got a great team. We got great space. We got great. One of the things I left out. During all this, I want to brag a little bit. We've paid for everything up front. We don't have debt. Besides this one loan that we took out to insure payroll, we don't have debt. We're not paying interest on stuff. The only debt that I would take out would be a mortgage if we can get to buy our own building. That's the only debt. We pay for everything up front. So this stuff is bought and paid for. Like, your furniture, bought and paid for. Like, we don't owe money on it. And that's a really big important thing for me, is I do not like paying interest on stuff. If we can't afford it, we shouldn't be doing it. There's a place for taking out loans and stuff like that, like we did, like to insure payroll. That's a super legitimate one. But outside of that, I don't like stuff. And having everything bought and paid for is a really great financial place to be in, because now whatever money we make, there's not that extra drain on it of interest payments or of monthly payments or whatever. It keeps things really clean. And so that's part of the good foundation that we've built. Like, this is like, when you walk past the couches, the leather couches that are expensive, it's like, that's done. We're not paying on that anymore. That's the old money paid for that. So we have a lot of good things coming. I'm going to give you one more, and then we're going to shift to the second big point. The other great thing in the good foundation is that we finally have the website that many of you have been waiting for far too long. For those of you that don't know the website history, about 2 years ago, I decided I really wanted like a new logo, a bunch of kind of rebranding stuff, new website, because we have a clunky old website still. We hired a marketing team. We created a bunch of new images and stuff like that you guys have not seen yet. but you will when you see the website. Um, we got professional headshots. We did company photo shoot at Mirror Lake. We did professional bios. We paid an editor to do bios. Now we're using AI and it works just as good, which is sad news for copyright, writers, whatever they call those people. We have just a lot of good. This design team started creating this website for us. It's amazing. It has just taken way too long to get it. Way too long. Like outrageously too long. Some of that in the beginning was actually our fault. We were the anchor. We were slow in getting them stuff, even me. But for a long time now, it's been them, and we didn't have access to it, so we couldn't just like take it. It was like, hey, we can't even get a hold of you guys. And it got to the point around November that Mike and I were talking about just paying somebody else to start from scratch, because it was like we can't get a hold of them. Like there's clearly something not going well behind the scenes, and we actually know the main guy in charge, care about him. We're worried, to be honest, more than anything. But so we just started reaching out and saying, can you just give us access, whatever state it's in, we'll just take it instead of starting fresh. And so they got it to us, and we got it recently, like maybe a month ago. And our very own Erica Hopper, one of our therapists out of Eagle River, who has done kind of IT stuff before, websites. She says she can finish it, and so it's probably 80% done. We got to move some people around. They're in the wrong locations and stuff. Add some things and then change it. Some of the numbers were off, like the prices for therapy and stuff. But basically, we're really close. It's really close, and it is beautiful. It's a beautiful website. It is so much nicer than the old website that I'm embarrassed about the old website. Like now when I see the old website, I'm like, oh God, like it's bad. It's like, that is a god awful website. This thing is like a Ferrari, and that's like a broken down hoopty on blocks. And so I won't even look at the old one anymore. I don't ever want to see it again. Don't bring it up to me. But we are soon going to have the website. We're going to have it out there. There is some more news coming on that front. That's for another video, but I don't have a firm deadline. Erica said she thinks she can get to it soon, maybe in a month or two, but is so much closer because we actually have it now. We could publish it today the way it is. But anyway, so that's really good news. All right, second big point, and then this video is going to wrap up, is on the good side of things. And this really is on the good side of things, even though it might sound like it's not. Hard times, like a stress test, highlight weaknesses, right? And highlight areas that were not going good. There's two things that were going good. One is we had some fat. We got to trim the fat. That expression means there was things that we were paying for that we could do cheaper. There's things that we are paying for that just shouldn't be. And once the money runs thin, you start looking at what can I cut. And we've already cut some things, like a storage unit and some other that just wasn't necessary, So we're cutting some things. We're trimming the fat. That's a really good one. The bigger one, though, that that's really relevant to this last year is that we did not have enough money in savings. And I really thought we did. And I'm going to give you some raw numbers so you can understand why I thought we did. We had almost $100,000 in savings. We had about $90,000. That's a huge amount of money to me. Like, to me, that was like being a millionaire. It was like, I have like $90,000 just sitting there doing nothing. Like, we just have like this big old chunk of money, that just seemed like so much freaking money that I just thought we were safe. And every once in a while we take a little bit out, we put it back, no big deal. To be able to take $10,000, $15,000 out to pay off like construction workers or whatever, and then just pay back over a few weeks was like, oh, that felt so safe. Now here's another raw number that makes that ridiculous. Our payroll is about $50,000 every 2 weeks. So it's about $100,000 a month just for payroll. And we didn't have quite that much in the safety account. We didn't have a full month's worth of payroll in the safety account. And as soon as it started getting close to like, like the safety account's running out and we don't have a lot of money coming in, it was like, oh, how are we going to make payroll? We got to take out a loan. Then it was like, oh, we had a completely inadequate amount of money in this safety account. Now, luckily, we didn't have zero money coming in. We've had, like probably 2/3 of the income coming in. So, and we usually don't have to touch it. So it's maybe not quite as dire as I'm painting it there, but um, still not enough. And so the really good thing that came out of this stressful situation is that we're going to just be socking money away into a savings for a while. I think we need to save probably $250,000 to $300,000 for the expenses that we have to be able to pay for several months of payroll, and maybe even more than that. But I think that's kind of our current goal. So we're just aware of that as a need to just be, and it's going to take quite a bit to get to that space, but we're just going to be, that's just a priority. And I think the most important piece is before we do any more kind of expansion, like any more like taking on a new location or hiring, big chunks of people or whatever, we're just going to save up and get nice and stable, and then we can grow. So anyway, so good things are we've spent this last year, 2 years developing a much more functional place. A lot of stressors came in. It stress tested the system. We found some more holes. We're going to fix those. And I really believe that for the future, everything's going to be fine. Like, I think we're going to be okay. We're doing a lot of the right things. I don't know the future. I don't have any special power there. I just feel a lot of comfort going forward. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up, but the last thing I want to say in this video is last two things. One is that I appreciate you guys, like I really do. And this is for the admin staff and for the therapists. This is a really neat company to be trying to develop, and Mike and I both are really enjoying trying to figure out how to make this model work and even to improve it, so that your experience is even smoother and better. And we're looking at a lot of marketing things to capture more of the clients and all this kind of stuff. And we are daily thinking about these things and talking them out and all that kind of stuff. And I do welcome feedback, ideas, concerns from you guys. Like, you can always, like, literally just, you can text them to me, you can email, you can ask to sit down. I'm seeing less clients now, so I've got more time to actually just kind of be places. If you want me to come hang out with you in Anchorage or Eagle River or whatever, just let me know. But really do appreciate this opportunity. I do, and I know Mike does. And then the last thing is that there will be another video. I want to do a video with kind of for the future, and one of the pieces for the future. So the next one that I'll probably put out, I'll probably sit on this for a day or two and think about the details, but things that for those of you that want to do something to help, that want to, like, hey, I really just want to, I'm a little nervous, I hear concerns, let me just help push this over the finish line. I want to give some ideas things that you could do to be more helpful, but with no obligation to do those things. Just if you were like, hey, I would do something if you told me what, I feel like that'd be responsible of me to communicate that. And then a good big change that is coming in the next couple months or so. We're adding something that's really neat, and just making a bit of a pivot. It will not impact your day-to-day work at all. It's nothing like that. It's just a cool thing that's been in the works for a very long time. So there's one kind of, so this is a teaser. There's a reveal thing coming up that I believe is good. I think have excitement in your mind. All right, that's it. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later.